Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome all of you back here again. First of all, I want to share with all of you a lot of information we discovered after the last videos that we have made concerning the Boston hoax. And I want to first of all show you some more pieces that will blow your mind, and it's a lot more than just what I'm about to say in this part 1 series. Okay, guys, I have to break this up in order for all of you to understand in several different ways, because I don't have any other way to do this under one video, and I don't want to make it too long that it will bore all of you about what I'm sharing with you. But this is very important information that you all need to really have. Okay, and you need to have a full, clear understanding of what I'm trying to share with all of you. Okay, so please be forgiven of me having to put all of this information and making it long and drug out, because it is very boring stuff, but yet it is extremely very dangerous stuff that's being implemented against us. So I have to have all of your full 100% attention on this. Okay, now all of you remember the United States government, the federal government, the local law enforcement, the FBI, all of them sit there and band together saying we had no knowledge of the use of the type of weapon, no knowledge of the attack. They had no idea. Okay, this is what they told you, right? Then they try to tell you after the event kind of calmed down a little bit, and they finally realized, wow, look here, we have a pressure cooker bomb that's going off inside of the Boston, Massachusetts. Now, we're not going to focus on the victims in this as much as we're going to focus on the warning, okay, in this part 1 series. Now, the CIA were admitting that they have made and trained soldiers of the Russian army on how to make these pressure cooker bombs. Trained them, taught them, even admitted that they even made them. And I want you to listen to this, because this is going to be mind-boggling. Listen to this. Ready?
As a CIA, from what you've seen and read, where is your head going with this?
Well, there are a couple observations I have, Pearson. One is the fact that there were 2 explosive devices used. They went off fairly reliably. That's not easy to do. I've made these improvised devices myself. I've watched instructors do it. It's difficult. The timing devices, inevitably one doesn't go off, or there's a low order of explosives. So somebody knew what they were doing, at least had some practice.
Now, the interesting part is that they said someone has a lot of knowledge. But in his speech he said that it's very hard to do. Now, the only ones who would know how to do this is the ones who's trained with it, who knew exactly what they were doing. He even admitted that he's the one that even made these bombs before with using pressure cookers. Even watched his instructors making pressure cookers. Even watched them instruct other people on how to make pressure cookers. And he goes on to admit all this in this video. Now, you have to start putting your head together with all this, ladies and gentlemen, is that they're telling you and admitting to you that they seriously were the ones making pressure cooker bombs to go off as a way of making you believe that we people are the terrorists, homegrown radicalization terrorists that are using household goods to make into bombs to go against our rogue government because we're angry at their policies. Ladies and gentlemen, they're creating a justification to go after its own citizens, to start policing its own citizens, because they're now wanting a one world government to go into full operational procedure as they have planned for all of these many years of putting into hard work to making sure that we're all lost into the bliss of enslavement for eternity. Now, guys, watch careful at your screen. Look careful. Pressure cookers as an IED components. This came out in July 2010. There's not any other report of anyone mentioning anything about the use of pressure cookers. The FBI put this document up there as a warning not a real warning, but as to make it look and appear as a warning that we may be attacked with the use of these type of weapons, of a pressure cooker, blah, blah, blah. They had ample knowledge about this type of structure or weapon being used. Okay, now, every time they gave a warning, whatever the cause is, we'll just use this as an example. They give the warning of a pressure cooker, next thing you know, bam, we get attacked with a pressure cooker bomb. Exactly inconsistent with their warning. Now, exactly in the moment of their training exercises, that happens to pertain to the use of an explosive device, and this happens to be a pressure cooker. So they had to make this pressure cooker go in coincide with this warning, so it makes it look like our government is legitimately telling us the truth, even if the event is staged. Or even if the event is real, it doesn't make a difference. Even if people died, it still shows our government were the ones who killed them. It doesn't show any terrorists doing it, but it shows them creating the element of terrorism and creating a phantom enemy that just simply does not exist, but only exist in their elements of their creation, of what they're making happen. Okay? Now, to show you another example, look at this carefully. The U.S. government, this is an actual government document, roll call releases the collaboration with the ITACG, okay, 17th of May, 2012. Now, you remember, 2012, back in June, the theater came under attack, okay, but there was warnings also before this that there was going to be an attack, like in April. Okay, the month of April 2012, this warning came out that there were maybe plots and plannings of an attack that were going to be done within U.S. borders, inside of our U.S. theaters, where people gather in large mass gatherings, okay, in concerts, or inside of the mall. This is all coinciding with the scenarios of the crisis actors acting out all these events inside of malls, theaters, and schools, and blah, blah, blah. But nonetheless, they give the warning. Next thing you know, bam, we get hit with a shooting instead of a theater. Next thing you know, we get shot with a shooting instead of the malls. And then Sandy Hook. But now you see my point, how that they give the warning to coincide with their training exercise, which we found out every one of these events were also conducting training exercises exactly in the moment of these events. And they made sure that this warning was out there as damage control, or should I say as the story that they were going to sell the public. If anyone was to push this any further, they were going to try to make it look like there was ample warnings, blah, 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 long in the place. But why weren't anyone doing anything about it to prevent it? If they knew about it, then they knew how to prevent it, correct? They knew exactly who was going to give this type of warnings. They knew exactly how to go get them. But they did nothing. They just let the attack happen. Or did they? Or were they a part of the attack? Well, this right here shows you, ladies and gentlemen, that they clearly were a part of it. And I want to show you something quite interesting too. That this is just only hypothetical thought that I'm putting into this. Okay, April. Notice the month, not the date or not the year, but I don't want you to notice the month. Okay, April. On April the 7th. Okay, here they're saying that a Chechen group terrorist attacked a Moscow theater. Now, even though that this was not a theater they attacked, but I want you to notice how that they use the word Chechens, terrorists, okay? The word Chechen, and then the month of April. What happened in the month of April of 2013 is that the so-called Chechen terrorists attacked inside of Boston. They became the Chechen suspects that were responsible for the fake attacks inside of Boston, and it happened in what? In the month of April. I found this quite interesting that they put those two words within the same month, coinciding together with what happened inside of Boston. I just thought that would be interesting to look into, as they had, they were already creating a fall guy, a phantom of your imagination. Now we're going to find out why they did this. Watch carefully. You remember how we all sat up there and we said that the victims were all just way too happy. Everyone was calm. Oh, wait, before I do that, let me do this right here. Let me go back here. Let me show you this. Okay. This is from the Medscape Hospital. Physicians that were working, nurses that were working in the hospital were saying that they didn't even realize that they were conducting a drill when they heard the reports on the radio come that a bomb went off, an explosion happened off during the marathon. They thought it was a drill. Well, of course they thought it was a drill because they were told it was going to be a drill. But then she caught herself as she said that word drill, and then she tried to correct herself by saying that's weird and it's kind of odd. But nonetheless, she mentioned the word drill if there's no drills, then why would you use the word drill? But, that's where you leave that. But anyhow, then you see here where they're saying that, but we did not get any of the people who had amputations. Right there. Okay? Isn't that quite interesting? She admits that there was no one that came into their hospitals with amputations. Now, we already knew that nobody, got killed. We already knew that nobody got mangled. We already knew that all of this stuff. We were already prepared for their lives. But nobody was even prepared for this, that it started turning out to be a business for amputations. They were raking in all of the cash. All of these amputation companies that deal with prosthetics were making billions of dollars in this month. Listen to this, okay? The events and programs, it goes on here that this month of April was the month of what? Of limb loss awareness 2013. Look at this. Again, at least 15 victims of the Boston Marathon bombings needed amputations after wounds from shrapnel and debris from limbs unsalvageable. First of all, ladies and gentlemen, there was nobody that had any limbs knocked off. Their limbs, we've already proven that their limbs were already off. We've shown you several damn times that they were lying about this. And there's also no evidence of shrapnel. If there was evidence of shrapnel, we would have seen the flags that were above the bomb blast shredded into pieces. Okay? But we did not see this. But what we do see is that they're raking in large amount of insurance money with prosthetics costing $8,000 to $60,000 for prosthetic legs. And here, where some of the victims do not have insurance, they would give them free, that cost a range of $2,500 and $5,000, okay, in payouts to go towards their their prosthetic limbs. But here's the problem, ladies and gentlemen, is that that's the reason why you've seen these people who were not injured smiling. They were already amputated and they needed prosthetics, so they went along with agreement with the U.S. government. We're going to make a deal with them. We're going to act the role that we were injured, and they will give us free prosthetics because we have no more money to pay for new prosthetics when we need them. Okay? And this will give us a good break. So that's why you've seen amputations, or these amputee actors being used in a staged event. They were getting free freaking prosthetics. You see what I'm getting at, ladies and gentlemen? It's right there in front of your faces. There's no way you can deny this, no matter how hard you try. You can, if you did try to deny it, then it means you're afraid of the truth and you're going to hide like a coward in the rocks. That's exactly the fact. April is now the National Limb Loss Awareness Month. Are you at risk? Okay, this company makes a lot of money. Even Obama declared this as a National Limb Loss Month awareness. Okay, this company makes a lot of money off of the prosthetics that were being delivered to the so-called Boston victims. Okay, they were using that. This became a very big thing, guys. But now you can see that there was a motive behind the use of amputee victims. They were already amputated. Their legs were already shot. But they needed to be able to get this exercise that they were conducting. They needed to get this exercise and to make this exercise look as realistic as possible. And by using fake actors. But guys, this goes much more deeper than this. It's not about Boston. And it's also not about just only taking your freedoms away from you and having military working in your streets. We're going to discover now why these events happen, and you're going to see where it leads to. It's off the charts insane. So get ready for part 2. Here we go.